Welcome to the channel, and today, we're getting into a topic that a lot of men think they understand, but most actually don't. We're talking about what a woman really feels during your absence. It's one of those subjects that stirs up strong opinions, but if you pay attention, you'll see how this knowledge can completely shift how you handle relationships. Now, let's break this down. When you're not around, whether it's because of work, travel, distance, or even when you're giving her space, a woman's mind doesn't just switch off. In fact, your absence creates an emotional ripple effect that can either strengthen your bond or quietly tear it apart, depending on what's happening beneath the surface. A lot of men assume that if a woman loves them, she'll simply miss them and wait patiently. But here's where things get more complex. During your absence, she's not just thinking about you. She's thinking about herself, her worth, her value in your eyes, whether she still has your attention, and whether the connection feels secure. Your absence brings out emotions that might surprise you. Longing, frustration, self-doubt, curiosity, and sometimes even resentment. And no, this doesn't mean women are overly emotional or needy. It means women are wired to seek emotional security. And when you're not around, that security feels tested. Every message you send or don't send, every call you make or skip, every little effort matters during this time more than you might think. So, in this video, we're going to break down what happens in her mind when you're not there, how her feelings evolve, and what you need to understand if you want to keep that connection strong, or risk losing it without even realizing it. If you're ready to stop guessing and start understanding female psychology on a deeper level, stick around. Let's get into it. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. She questions her value. When you're not around, one of the first things that happens in a woman's mind is that she starts to question her value in the relationship. It doesn't matter how confident she seems or how secure things looked when you were present. Distance has a way of making her reflect and wonder what she truly means to you. This isn't about her being needy or overly emotional. It's just how people are wired when they care about someone. The moment you're less available, she starts filling in the blanks. She begins thinking, does he miss me? Am I as important to him as he is to me? Is he even thinking about me right now? And these thoughts don't just fade. The longer the absence, the louder these questions get in her mind. What makes this tricky is that you probably won't hear these questions from her directly. She's not likely to text you asking, "Do I still matter to you?" Instead, you'll see it in her behavior. She might pull back a little. She might stop sharing as much. She might seem distant, and it might confuse you. But really, she's waiting. Waiting to see if you'll take the lead. If you'll show that her place in your life is still strong even when you're not there. Picture this. You're gone on a work trip for a couple of weeks. At first, she's supportive. She tells you to focus on your job. But after a few days of rushed replies or missed calls, something changes. She starts to feel like she's fading from your mind. Maybe she stops sending those good morning texts. Maybe she waits to see how long it takes before you call without being reminded. This is where small actions make all the difference. A simple, thoughtful message. A video call just to say you miss her, remembering something she mentioned before you left. These things reassure her that even when you're apart, her value in your eyes hasn't changed. 2. She wonders if you'd even notice if she let go. When you're absent, not just physically, but emotionally distant too, a quiet shift happens in a woman's mind. At first, she waits. She tells herself you're busy. She tells herself you'll come back around. But as the distance continues, as the silence stretches longer, the doubts begin to form. And one of the most painful, haunting thoughts she begins to carry is this: would he even notice if I let go? This thought doesn't come from a place of pettiness. It's not about trying to play a game. It's about the natural response to feeling invisible. She's been giving. She's been present. She's been patient. But when she doesn't feel that effort returned, the mind does what it always does in moments of uncertainty. It starts to question everything. She wonders if you'd miss her energy if she stopped bringing it. She wonders if you'd feel the loss of the small ways she shows love. Those daily check-ins, those thoughtful messages, those moments where she chooses you over everything else. And the more she wonders, the more she pulls back internally. It doesn't happen in an obvious way. You might not see it right away. But inside, she starts loosening her grip. She starts to think about what it would feel like to let go. Would the silence bother you? Would you even notice the change? Or would life just go on as if nothing happened? These questions start as quiet thoughts, but they get louder the longer she feels unseen. And once they take hold, they change how she views the relationship. She stops feeling safe in the bond. She stops assuming you care as much as she does. And in that space, she starts preparing herself for the idea that maybe she's been holding on alone, that maybe the connection she believed in was stronger in her heart than in yours. This is something most men don't realize is happening, because she's not shouting about it. She's not begging for attention. She's sitting with these thoughts, waiting to see if you'll notice on your own. And in that waiting, she's testing you without even meaning to. She's hoping for a sign, any sign, that she still matters, that the connection still matters. What hurts the most is that this moment could be a turning point. If you step up, if you show her with real actions that you see her, that you feel her absence too, that silent question in her mind can fade. But if you stay distant, if you stay blind to what she's feeling, that question becomes her answer. And once she decides that you wouldn't notice, or that you wouldn't care enough to fight for her, it's hard to come back from that. 3. She begins to see what life feels like without you. When you're absent for long enough, whether physically, emotionally, or both, there comes a point where a woman starts to picture what life feels like without you in it. At first, it's not intentional. She's not sitting down and deciding to imagine a future without you. It starts quietly, almost by accident. The longer she goes without feeling your presence, the more she adjusts to that empty space. She notices how her days begin and end without hearing from you. She notices how she starts solving problems, making decisions, and getting through challenges without you being part of the process. And over time, what was once painful or lonely starts to feel normal. That's where the real shift happens. She begins to realize that she can function, she can cope, and she can move through life, even when you're not there. This isn't because she stopped caring. It's not because she stopped wanting you. It's because she has no choice but to adapt. The human heart does that when something it depends on becomes unreliable or distant. Slowly, she stops waiting for you to fill the space. She starts filling it herself. And once she learns to live without the connection she thought she needed, she starts to question whether she wants it at all anymore. What makes this so powerful is that it happens so quietly. From the outside, it might look like everything's fine. She's still kind. She's still polite. She might still be part of your world in the same ways. But inside, she's living differently. The bond that once felt necessary starts to feel optional. And that's not because she stopped valuing it. It's because she learned how to get by without it. Men often miss this moment. They think, she's strong, she's patient, she understands I'm busy. But what they don't see is that with every day of absence, she's stepping further into a life where she relies on herself, not the relationship. And the longer this goes on, the more natural that feels to her. Eventually, she stops feeling the emptiness. That space where you used to be gets filled with other things: her work, her friends, her hobbies, her dreams. And by the time you try to step back into that space, you may find that there's no room left. Not because she hates you, not because she wants revenge, but because she had to build a life that didn't leave her waiting. The truth is, once she begins to see what life feels like without you, it's hard for her to unsee it. That's why absence, if handled carelessly, can change everything. Not because she wanted it to, but because she learned how to live with it. 4. She fights. The urge to stop caring first. When you're absent, and the distance keeps growing, something begins to happen inside her that she never wanted to face. A part of her starts to feel the weight of caring too much. And as that weight grows heavier, she begins to fight the quiet urge to stop caring before it hurts her more. She doesn't wake up one day and decide to stop caring. It's a slow, painful battle within herself. She remembers how much she invested. She remembers the moments she felt chosen, seen, and wanted. But now, with every unanswered moment, with every bit of effort that feels one-sided, she feels exposed. She feels like she's holding something fragile in her hands, and she's the only one trying to keep it from breaking. There's a voice inside her that whispers, "Why are you still trying? Why are you still hoping?" But her heart pushes back, because she doesn't want to be the first to stop caring. She doesn't want to let go before she's sure there's nothing left to hold on to. So she keeps showing up in small ways, even as the doubts creep in, even as the silence grows louder. That inner conflict is exhausting. Part of her wants to stay open, to believe that what she felt was real and that it can be restored. But another part of her starts to crave the safety of not caring so much, because the more she cares, the more it hurts when that care isn't returned. The more she hopes, the deeper the disappointment when that hope is met with nothing. She tries to silence that urge to pull back. She tells herself to wait a little longer, to give things a little more time. But as the distance keeps stretching, she begins to wonder how long she can keep fighting herself. She begins to wonder if caring this much, alone, is fair to her heart. There's a sadness in that struggle. She didn't want to be here, torn between holding on and protecting herself. But your absence leaves her in that space, forced to weigh her feelings against the reality in front of her. And with every day that passes without change, the urge to stop caring first grows stronger. She resists it as long as she can, because deep down, she remembers what it felt like to be cared for in return. But slowly, she starts to feel the need to shield herself. And the longer she feels alone in that care, the closer she gets to letting that urge win. 5. She questions why she's holding on alone. As the distance drags on, and the silence between you grows heavier, she reaches a point where she starts to really question herself. Not because she wants to, but because she has to. She begins to ask, "Why am I the only one holding on?" That question sits quietly at first, like a soft ache she tries to ignore. But the longer it feels like she's carrying the connection by herself, the louder that question becomes. She thinks back to how things used to feel, when the effort came from both sides, when she didn't have to wonder where she stood, when there was no doubt that you were in it with her. Now, she notices the shift. She notices that she's the one reaching out. She's the one hoping. She's the one waiting. And slowly, she starts to feel the weight of that. What hurts most is that holding on isn't something she does lightly. It comes from love, from loyalty, from wanting to believe that what you built together is still worth fighting for. But the more it feels like she's holding on by herself, the more that loyalty feels like a burden instead of a bond. Imagine she wakes up each morning and checks her phone, hoping to see something from you, a message, a call, anything that reminds her she's still in your thoughts. And each time she doesn't, she feels that sting of being alone in this. She goes through her day carrying that feeling, wondering why she's still trying so hard for someone who doesn't seem to be trying for her. That's the part that starts to break her spirit. It's not just the absence of words or actions from you. It's the feeling that she's pouring energy into something that isn't giving anything back. And when she feels that way for too long, the questioning grows deeper. She starts to wonder if holding on is doing more harm than good. The inner conflict is painful. She wants to stay. She wants to believe. But she also starts to see how much it hurts to keep holding on without support. She feels torn between hope and self-protection. And as much as she wants to stay loyal to what you once had, she can't ignore how lonely that loyalty feels now. At some point, that question, "Why am I holding on alone?" begins to change her. It makes her see things differently. And it pushes her closer to deciding whether she should finally let go. Not because she stopped caring, but because she can't carry it all by herself anymore. 6. She starts wondering if she needs you at all. There comes a point, after all the waiting and all the hoping, where the silence changes something deep inside her. What once felt like longing slowly turns into reflection. And in that quiet, she starts to wonder, do I really need him? This question doesn't come from a place of anger. It doesn't mean she stopped loving you. It comes from exhaustion, from carrying the weight of caring alone, from standing in the emptiness your absence left behind. At first, she was sure she needed you, sure that what you shared was worth every bit of effort and patience. But as time passes without real connection, that certainty starts to crack. She begins to look at herself differently. She starts to see how much she's handled on her own while you've been distant. She notices the strength she didn't know she had. The same strength she once used to hold the relationship together now shows her that she can stand alone if she has to. And that changes how she feels about what she needs. Where she once felt incomplete without you, she starts to see that she's capable of filling those empty spaces on her own. She begins to realize that her happiness, her peace, and her sense of worth don't have to depend on you showing up. That thought surprises her at first. But with each day of distance, it grows more familiar. She remembers the woman she was before you. Independent, whole, capable, and in the space where you used to be, she starts to reconnect with that part of herself. It's not because she stopped loving. It's because love, without care and effort in return, starts to feel lonely. And in that loneliness, she starts asking hard questions about what she truly needs. That's when the shift happens. The relationship no longer feels like something she must hold on to at any cost. It starts to feel like something she'll choose to hold on to, if it's right, if it's real, if it makes her stronger rather than emptier. The more she lives in the silence, the more she sees that needing someone should never feel like this. Needing someone shouldn't feel like waiting, wondering, and doubting. It shouldn't feel like proving her worth over and over again without being seen. And so, little by little, she lets go of that need. Not because she doesn't care anymore, but because she's finally seeing that she can stand without leaning on someone who won't meet her halfway. That realization, once it takes hold, is powerful. And once she accepts it, it's hard to go back to needing anyone who made her feel so alone. 7. She chooses whether to stay or let go. After everything she's felt, the waiting, the questioning, the loneliness, the strength she found within herself, she reaches the point that most men don't even see coming. She stands at that quiet crossroad where she decides, do I stay or do I let go? This choice doesn't come in a burst of anger. It doesn't always come with dramatic words or big emotional scenes. It comes in the silence, in the moments where she's tired of hoping, tired of feeling invisible, tired of wondering if what you once had is still there at all. She looks at what's left of the connection. She looks at how much of herself she's given and how little she feels coming back. And then she chooses. What makes this decision so painful is that she didn't want to have to make it. She wanted to believe. She wanted to feel chosen, wanted, and worth the effort. But when your absence drags on, when you stop showing up, stop trying, stop seeing her, you leave her no choice but to question whether holding on makes sense anymore. Here's the part men need to hear. Most of the time, by the time she makes this decision, she's already done the hard work of letting go emotionally. She's already grieved the loss of what she thought the relationship was. And often, the man is still standing there, unaware that the chance to fix things is slipping through his fingers. She waited for effort. She waited for a sign. And when none came, she realized she couldn't keep waiting forever. This is the point where men need to wake up. Too many think there's always more time, that she'll always be there, always forgiving, always waiting. But no one waits forever without feeling the weight of being forgotten. And once she chooses to let go, it's not because she stopped loving. It's because she stopped seeing any reason to keep holding on. The hardest truth? When she lets go, she does it with peace. She does it knowing she gave all she could. And once that peace sets in, it's nearly impossible to pull her back. Because she's no longer choosing based on what she hopes you'll do. She's choosing based on what she's already seen. If you're not paying attention now, you'll only see what she felt when it's too late. And by then, her decision is made. By now, you can see that a woman's heart doesn't just sit still when you're absent. The longer the distance grows without real effort from your side, the more she changes. And here's the controversial truth that most men don't want to hear. When a woman finally lets go, it's because you taught her how to live without you. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly. Through the silences, the missed chances, the times she reached out and felt nothing back. You may not notice these moments as they happen, but she feels every single one of them. And when she finally chooses to let go, it's not a decision she takes lightly. It's the result of everything she felt while she was left alone in that space you once filled. This is where I want to hear from you. What have you experienced in your own relationships, either as the man realizing this too late, or as the woman who felt this change inside yourself? Drop a comment below. Share your story. I read every comment, and I'll reach out because these conversations matter. Let's not just talk about these truths. Let's actually connect, learn, and grow from them. I'm here to listen.